Welcome to Black Belt Radio, show number 18, Fueling Your Own Fire. Every student who walks onto the training floor brings with them a quiet hope. Sometimes that hope is clear and confident. Other times, it hides behind doubt or uncertainty. Yet deep inside each person, there's a small flame that wants to grow. I've learned over the years that this flame does not rise because someone pushes it from the outside. It grows because the student chooses to rise from within. Self-motivation is not dramatic. It doesn't ask for attention. It shows up in the way a student straightens their uniform, takes a steady breath, bows with sincerity, and decides to try again. These simple moments reveal a deeper strength that lives inside all of us. When we learn to nurture that strength, we discover that growth is always possible and progress is always within reach. Tang Soo Do offers us a place to practice choosing that inner path. Each technique, each tradition, and each respectful gesture reminds us that our development is in our own hands. When we honor that truth, we begin to build a foundation of confidence and discipline that supports every part of our lives.
Every journey of true, lasting personal growth. Well, it rarely announces itself with a brass band.
No, not at all.
It usually happens in the quietest, most challenging moments. We're actually starting today with a really compelling story that captures this idea, and it's from the reflections of Grandmaster Kevin Case.
He was observing a normal, a pretty exhausting evening class in the dojang, that's the training hall.
Right.
And he was focused on one young student who was just really struggling with her front kicks. Her arms were flying wide, her balance was shaky, and you could just see the frustration building.
And no one was really watching her closely, right?
Yeah.
The instructors were busy?
No one. The instructors were across the room. There was no pressure for perfection, no applause.
She hits a wall, pauses for a second, takes this ragged breath, and just quietly nods to herself. She didn't look for validation or, pity.
Right.
She just tried again. And when she finally landed a kick with a little more stability, her whole posture shifted. Her eyes brightened in a way Grandmaster K said he'd always remember.
And it wasn't because the kick was perfect. It was because she had silently proven something profound to herself.
She found that inner spark.
That's it, that self-generated spark. And that moment is really the foundation for today's comprehensive overview here on Black Belt Radio. We're going into Grandmaster Kevin Case's writing and research on fueling your own fire, the heart of self-motivation.
And our mission today is really an extension of the United Tang Soo Do Association's core purpose, helping people grow mentally, physically, and emotionally. We're looking at self-motivation as the nucleus of that entire journey.
The energy you need for success, both inside and outside the dojang.
Okay, so let's unpack a huge misconception right away.
Please.
When most people think about motivation, they picture something loud, a sudden flash of excitement, that big push from a deadline or some rousing speech.
And that kind of motivation, the flashy kind, is often really fleeting. It relies on external things. What's so fascinating in Grandmaster Case's observations is that the deepest, most resilient self-motivation is, well, it's quiet.
Doesn't shout.
It whispers consistently. It's that constant little nudge that reminds you of the person you hope to become, not just for a day, but over weeks, months, years.
But if it's so quiet, how do you keep it from just becoming complacency? I mean, we live in a world that rewards urgency and volume.
Yeah.
How does that whisper not just fade away?
That's where the crucial differentiator comes in. Real self-motivation isn't about feeling excited. It's the discipline to move toward growth, even when nobody is watching.
Oh, hopeful.
It's the effort you put in when the lights are off, and you're the only one who knows if you really did the work.
Yeah.
It's a conscious, steady decision.
That completely shifts the metric for success, doesn't it? It means your energy has to come from an internal source.
Precisely. It has to come from internal values, not from external praise.
So even though encouragement from instructors and family is important,
It's vital. It absolutely helps. But the deepest, most reliable drive is generated internally. It comes from that private decision you make that your future, your character, that it's all worth the sustained, quiet effort.
And the source material highlights this beautiful ripple effect of that kind of internal growth.
Mhm.
When you, as an individual, choose to grow, the benefits don't just stop with you, your family, your classmates, your community. They all grow with you. How does that actually work, though?
Well, think about it simply. When you choose discipline, when you show up, when you're patient, when you honor your commitments, you become a model.
Right, for your kids or younger siblings.
Exactly. You're showing them that hard work isn't just something an adult tells you to do, it's a personal choice that gets results. And when you learn better focus in the dojang, that focus carries over.
Less stress at home, better productivity at work.
It positively impacts your entire household.
So that quiet commitment is actually a profound act of community service,
It is. It replaces volatility with reliable consistency.
which is so important.
This brings us to how the tradition of Tong-Soo-Do systematically strengthens this inner drive. It doesn't leave it to chance. It gives that motivation reliable anchors.
You're talking about the 5 codes, the 7 tenets, and the student creed.
That's right.
For someone who's not familiar, these might just sound like philosophical phrases you'd see hanging on a wall, but they're designed to be much more operational than that, correct?
Absolutely. They're not meant to sit quietly on a page and collect dust. They are meant to be an active internal guidance system.
Something that helps you navigate daily choices, especially when you feel discouraged.
Yes, growth doesn't happen by accident. It needs steady intention, and these principles provide the guide.
Let's dig into that a little. If we look at the 7 tenets, you see concepts like perseverance and integrity. So how does anchoring your motivation in, say, integrity help when you're alone and debating whether to skip practice?
It creates a crucial internal conflict resolution. If your motivation is tied just to external goals, like I want a black belt, it's easy to quit when it gets hard.
Sure.
But if it's tied to the internal value of integrity, the question changes. It's no longer, do I feel like practicing? It becomes, am I a person who honors the commitment I made to myself?
Integrity forces that accountability.
It forces you to be honest about your effort, even when it's difficult.
And perseverance is the fuel for that quiet motivation we were talking about earlier. It's about enduring that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
It gives you the long-term vision.
Yeah.
The source material really emphasizes that improvement is only linear on paper. In reality, it's messy. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
True self-motivation relies on believing that enduring those setbacks is just part of fulfilling the value of perseverance.
So self-motivation through this lens is really just, it's the choice to keep putting one foot in front of the other, guided by these core principles.
It's the choice to live up to your own standard, regardless of any immediate reward.
Okay, so if the 5 codes and 7 tenets are our internal blueprint, what are the daily, tangible actions that Tong-Soo-Do emphasizes to physically lock that blueprint in place?
Right. Moving from the philosophical to the practical habits, we have to understand these simple acts aren't random. They're like micro-ceremonies designed to shape focus.
And Grandmaster Case's materials point to 4 critical ones. Let's start right at the door.
The first is just bowing when you enter the dojang. That simple physical act is a powerful declaration of purpose,
It creates a boundary.
a physical and a psychological one. You're consciously saying, I'm stepping out of the chaos of the outside world and into a place where serious effort is required. It's a moment to refocus and remind yourself that the effort you give today matters.
So the bow isn't just a greeting, it's applied mindfulness.
Exactly. It shifts your attention. The second is the condition of your attire, wearing a clean dobok, the uniform.
And this reflects discipline and respect.
Yes, not just for the art, but for your own commitment.
But why does the uniform matter if I'm just practicing alone in my garage?
Because it reinforces the idea that improvement starts with how you carry yourself. Preparing your uniform with care honors the journey. If you approach the uniform casually, you risk approaching the practice casually.
It's about respect for your own time and effort.
It is. Then, the third practice, following proper etiquette. Every moment of silence, every bow to a partner, it all builds self-control and focus.
It's not just about good manners.
Not at all. It's about building self-governance.
Yeah.
The ability to control your reactions in small interactions strengthens that capacity in every other part of your life.
The etiquette teaches you how to govern yourself.
Absolutely. And the fourth, which is emphasized so heavily in the student manual, is practicing consistently.
This is what locks everything else in place.
It is. Motivation becomes so much stronger when the habit is consistent. Confidence doesn't come from one perfect kick. It grows with each repetition, each small victory earned through just steady effort.
That consistency builds motivational memory. It reminds your mind that you can show up even when that spark feels low.
That's the real mastery. And Tong Soo Do nurtures this through these structured traditions.
So for anyone listening who wants to strengthen their own internal engine, what are the most actionable practices that Grandmaster Case suggests? Things you can apply immediately.
The first one is about managing your scope, which is so essential for that quiet motivation.
Yeah.
And start with small commitments.
Right. Don't overwhelm yourself.
Don't set a goal like, I've trained 2 hours every single day. That is a recipe for burnout.
Instead, you should mirror how you learn a technique. When you're learning a hanga form, you master one block, then the next. You build complexity through simplicity.
Exactly that. Choose just one achievable action daily. Maybe you stretch for 5 minutes. Maybe you practice your hung one time through.
Or just review terminology.
Just 5 terms from your manual. Small, achievable steps create long-term progress because they generate these frequent, tiny feelings of success that compound.
And the focus has to be on the activity itself, not some idea of perfection.
Correct. That's the second step. Focus on the process. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. We should celebrate the honest effort and the willingness to try again, not just the outcome.
So if you gave an honest effort, you honored your commitment, you honored your integrity.
Yes, regardless of whether you succeeded at the task itself. That dedication is the metric that matters.
And we should also revisit our core philosophy when things get really tough.
That's the third practice. Use the 5 codes and 7 tenets as your anchors. When you feel discouraged or tired, you recall those values: loyalty, perseverance, respect, integrity, humility.
They become your guidance system.
They do. You stop asking, is this easy? And you start asking, does this align with the character I'm trying to build?
And finally, there's the power of self-analysis, right? Of turning your journey into a deliberate series of choices.
The fourth key practice is to reflect after each class or training session. Ask yourself 2 very specific questions. Did I give honest effort today?
Okay.
And what is one small improvement I can make next time? That reflection strengthens accountability and makes sure you are actively learning.
That seems simple, but that structured, honest reflection, that's how we avoid complacency. Even when our motivation is quiet, it forces that internal assessment.
It does. And there's one more powerful thought from Grandmaster Case's notes, and it's about practicing gratitude. Acknowledging what your mind and body are capable of, the strength you've built, the knowledge you have. It makes the hard work feel deeply meaningful, even on tired days. Gratitude transforms obligation into appreciation.
It takes the focus off how far you have left to go and puts it on how far you've already come.
Absolutely. When these habits, the small commitments, the reflection, using values as guides, are practiced consistently, they create a quiet, powerful momentum inside you.
Growth really begins with that personal choice, that sincere effort. It's not about being flawless.
It's about showing up and believing your future character is worth investing in today.
And we can't conclude this comprehensive overview without coming back to that powerful line that closes the source material. The greatest fire is the one we learn to light within ourselves.
Which leaves the real question for you, the listener. What is the one small commitment, that one quiet spark you will light within yourself today to honor your journey?
Self-motivation is not a moment of excitement. It's a lifelong practice. It grows every time you decide to keep moving, even when the path feels slow or challenging. As an instructor, I've had the privilege of watching this strength take root in students of every age. I see it in the child who tries again after losing balance. I see it in the adult who returns to training after many years away. I see it in the black belt who bows sincerely with humility before stepping onto the floor. That steady, sincere effort is what shapes a martial artist. And this is the heart of our mission in the United Tang Soo Do Association, to help each student discover their strength from the inside out and to walk a path of personal development that enriches every area of life. Keep nurturing that quiet fire. It'll serve you well in Tang Soo Do and in everything you do beyond the dojang. For Black Belt Radio, this is Grandmaster Kevin Case. Tang Soo.